Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Today we're going to be collecting beautiful pieces onto our player board and then scoring them. That's a lot of games, right? Well, this one is Mandala stones. In this game, you have a central board set up at the beginning with these lovely plastic pieces. They call it stones in the game, Mandala stones. And you're going to be collecting them, putting them onto your own personal player board, scoring them with different scoring opportunities, and trying to have the most points at the end of the game. You have a secret objective even, and if you come out on top, of course, with the most victory points, you're going to win the whole thing. It's a quick teach. It's a very simple game to understand. Let me go ahead and show you, and I'll see you on the other side. Each player begins with one of these player boards in front of him, and the objective, of course, is to get the most victory points on the track here at the end of the game. On your turn, you do one of two things. You can pick new pieces out here, or you can score. So I'm going to teach you the pick option first, okay? These four represent the four artists, and you've got the whole display here set up at the beginning. All the pieces have been put out. So what you do in order to pick is you take one of these, any one you want, you move it somewhere else. So say perhaps I move this one here, and then it can go anywhere. You just have to make sure you move it. And then you will take all of the pieces from around it that match that symbol. There are two kinds of symbols here. You've got that pattern, and you've got that pattern right there. The color and the patterns have really nothing to do with one another. And so this pattern here matches the two yellow ones right there. I'm going to take those two. And there's a specific order in which you go. You go clockwise and then stack them up like that. And then they go into one of these places that is still empty on your player board. So I might put it there, for example, okay? And then the next player will go. Maybe they'll do a different pick. You know, maybe they'll go, they'll take this one and it'll go here, all right? And now this one matches these two. However, you will never take one that is between two pillars. You can kind of think of it as being pinched between the two, so you cannot take that one. So if the next player makes that move, they only get this one, and they'll put it on their own player board on a space that's empty. All right? The other option is scoring. And when you're scoring, I'm going to go ahead and grab a few more of these and just put them somewhere. I'll put that there. I'm going to grab these and put them there. I'm going to... I don't know, grab, let's say I got those two, these, and I'll put them there. Okay, let's say that's what that looks like. If they're all filled, you have to score because you cannot pick. None of these will be empty, right? And when you choose to score, you'll do one of two things. You can just pick as many stacks as you want to, remove the top stone from each, and get 1 point apiece. So I could do that. I could say, okay, I'm going to score this one and this one. That's 2 points. These are discarded. The other option is color scoring, which is much more profitable. You are going to pick a color that is on at least 2 of your stacks at the top, and then you'll score for that color, okay? And the way that works is there is a scoring, basically, opportunity or variety associated with each of these places. If I pick, in this case, pink, I'm going to score for each of those. So this one here says I'm going to get 1 point for each differently sized stack on my board. And none counts as a different amount. So in this case, I have one kind. A single one here would be a different kind. I have a stack of 2 and a stack of 3. I'm going to get 4 points for that. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one, there's no pink there, so I'm not going to score that. No pink here, so I'm not going to score that. I will score this one. And for the explanation, this scores the same as these two. You see how many you've got in that grouping, in that stack, and you score the associated amount. Here, having fewer is better. If you had a single token there, that's worth 4 points. Here, the 2 in the center would be best, and here, having a higher stack is best. So again, scoring pink here, it says I get 1 point if there's only 1, 2 for 2, 4 if I have 3, which is what I have, or if I had a whole stack of 4 stones here, I'd get 6 points. So I'm going to get 4 points, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then over here, which I'll also be scoring because it's pink, I get 1 point for each differently colored stone in this group, plus 1 point. There's 2 colors, plus 1, 3 points. 1, 2, 3. And once that's done, again, I remove these from the tops of those stacks, okay? There's one more thing that happens after a player scores. I'll come back to it in a second. But that's basically what's going on. And again, you will be only scoring the ones that you trigger if it's a color scoring, and you have to have 2 of the same color to trigger that scoring. Or you can just say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 points. That's it. Never mind the colors. Just 1 point apiece for any top stone I want. Okay? So, every time you remove some of these, let's go ahead and move this out of the way here. Every time you score stones and then afterwards remove them, they go onto the spiral here. So, and you'll put them starting from the center going around and around. Whenever you cover a space that has a +1 or has a +2, you get +1 or +2 points respectively. And the game is going to be over when you get to the spot that signifies the count of players you've got. So for example, as soon as we hit this spot here with 2 players, or anybody goes past it, we make sure we have an equal number of rounds, and at that point the game is over. 3 players out here, 4 players out here. And the only thing left to score at the end then would be one of your 2 hidden bonus cards. You dealt 2 of these at the beginning of the game, and at the end of the game you may score 1 of them. And they sort of check for a variety of things. So this one says, at the end of the game, if you have at least 3 yellow stones or more than anybody else, you get 7 points. This one, if you end the game with no stones on your player board, 10 points. And so on, okay? So there you go. That's basically how the game works. That's pretty much everything. So let's go ahead and go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. All right, so let me give you some final thoughts here on Mandala Stones. Overall, I like this one. I think it's a lovely game, but it is not without flaws, in my opinion. And in fact, I'll only have one section of my target player breakdown here that isn't a positive. But you will see just about all of them are couched in 1 or 2 minor things that I find annoying, let's say. So my only not glowing point here, for lack of a better term, is the replay value. I think the replay value is okay, and the problem with that is that the game is really best with fewer players. There's just more control. You can pay attention in between turns. It feels like when you play with 4, you really are, unless you intend to score because you're full up, you should just kind of ignore the central board until it's, the player right before you. Because it'll change so much. You just don't have any planning when it comes to that. You need to plan on your turn, pretty much. Unless, again, you're scoring and you're full up, you know what you're going to be doing. So it's better with 2. It is a little samey. So the replay value gets hurt from that. The scoring opportunities below your player board there are the same every time. There aren't tiles that you shuffle up and set up each time, so that doesn't change, okay? Everything else I like, again, couching each of them, or most of them, in sort of an issue. The top theme, I like. It's neat. It's easy to get into, but it is abstracted. It's very abstract. The black pillars there that you move around are called artists. Sure. I don't have a problem with the theme, but you will not be using it to teach, okay? The aesthetics are lovely. The plastic pieces, the boards, everything. Except for on the player boards themselves, the scoring track is not good. It winds back and forth a couple times. And I often found myself scoring backwards on the track because I thought I was moving forward. There should have been some arrows on those dots. Something. A visual cue to remind me more frequently than every 5 pieces that, hey, I'm moving in the wrong direction, okay? The game arc is good, but the end game can hurt a little bit because it sneaks up on you sometimes and can feel anticlimactic if you were about to score or, you were getting close to building something and then the game ends. You're not given anything, pretty much, for the stones you're holding. So that can hurt a little bit. The ease of play is good, and it's extremely easy to teach. It's a one you'll get going with quickly, except for one dumb rule, which thankfully you can just ignore. What is that rule? When you move an artist and you check the stones around it, and which ones you can take. One that isn't pinched, the ones that match, all of that. You're supposed to pick where you're starting. You go clockwise, picking up all the ones you are allowed to take. And then the first one you take is supposed to go on the bottom of that stack. And you build up the stack that way, right? So, you know, you're getting 3 of these, and they are placed like so, and I'm starting here, I'm going clockwise, so I'm supposed to do this. And then put that one on the bottom, and then go here, and put that one on the bottom, like that. That's dumb. You either tell me I go counterclockwise, and I just go here, and I go bloop, bloop, same thing achieved, or it super doesn't matter because it's all random, and I just go clockwise and I make a stack from the top. It's all random when you set up the game. It doesn't matter. That's a weird rule that somehow made it to the final edition, and thankfully, just don't teach it. It's completely unnecessary, and you do not need to worry about it, okay? But it's in there, so I'm talking about it. Lastly, tactics, luck, strategy. Good things to think about, you know, fun little things. But I do wish the endgame bonuses were more varied. There's only 3 different kinds. There's these. All 4 of these are the same. You want to have 3 X stones, that's the color, or more of that color than anybody else. So 3 blue stones, 3 purple, 3 red, 3 yellow. These are all the same. Then there's these, which are also all the same. End with no stones, 1 stone, 2 stones, 3 stones. And then these. End with only this pattern showing, or end with only this pattern showing. I wish there was more variety there, is what I'm saying. And I just wish that, I don't know, they had come up with something else for the players to do. Maybe you can even have some of these that you scored during the game. Doesn't matter, right? I find it a little, the end game is both can sneak up on you and then turn out to be underwhelming, which is a problem for something like this. Because while you're playing, you're having a great time, or I was. And then you get to the end and it's like, wah, wah. There's also nothing you get for the stones left over unless you do it from these. So maybe that would have been something that would have made your work seem a little less wasteful. Maybe, you know, every 3 stones is 1 point anyway, or something. I don't know. It's just something. So that's going to be it. For me, I like this one, like I said, but there are a couple of minor things. Overall, it seems like I've spoken a lot about little things that I find annoying, but the package, the entire game, the fun that I derive from it, trumps all of that stuff. I do like it. I would recommend it especially for 2 players. This makes for a quick, attractive, enjoyable 2-player game. So, to me, it kind of feels like it really fits into that Azul type of game, right? It feels like the games from that company, from Next Move Games. The Azul games, a game like Reef. This feels like it's part of that family of games. Now, I don't like it as much as I like the Azul games. But I like it more than I like Reef, and I like Reef. So for me, this is going to get a 7.5 out of 10. That's a seal of approval, and it is a game I recommend, again, knowing those few little minor things I mentioned, and assuming you are playing with fewer people most of the time, okay? So there you go. That is Mandala Stones, 7.5 out of 10 from me, and that's going to do it, everybody. Thanks for checking this out. My name is Z Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.